Hi. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted from the stress of constantly managing your dog separation anxiety? Do you feel that none of what you've tried so far seems to work and you're probably confused by all the information that you've read on the internet, plus everything that other people have been telling you? And so you probably don't even know where to start anymore. So let me give you some guidance. I'm Alex, a professional dog behavior consultant with over 20 years of experience. And this is what I'd like to share with you today. I know that solving separation anxiety is about teaching your dog to cope and to actually feel safe and calm when you're not there. But it all begins with a foundation. If you start by leaving the house right away, you're actually starting further ahead in the process. And so you're likely to set your dog up for failure because you're not starting with a foundation. And this foundation is about taking the steps, doing things that will lower your dog's baseline anxiety level and will help him feel safe. And today, I would like to talk about predictability. That is one of the very important steps that you need to take when you're building that solid foundation. So think about it, like what is it that makes us nervous if we're going to a doctor, for instance, and we have no idea what they're going to say, or if we're going to take an exam and we've got no idea whether it's going to go well or not. And so it's the uncertainty of not knowing what's happening next that causes anxiety. So the same thing happens with our dogs, and especially an anxious dog. Those anxious dogs need predictability more than than other dogs do, because they need to be able to tell what's coming next. They need that certainty, and of course, certainty comes from predictability. If your dog doesn't know what's coming next, that is going to make him quite anxious, just like us not knowing what's happening next can make us anxious. So when you become predictable, in other words, your dog learns how you are going to respond in certain situations. So when you become predictable, you're helping him to feel safe. Okay, I know he already feels safe with you, but we're talking about in general terms. We want him to feel empowered. We want him to feel confident, even if you're not there. So the reason why being predictable is so important, it's because it lowers anxiety, definitely. So here's a couple of ways that you can be predictable. One of them is when your dog acts needy. Now, I'm not talking about barking to get your attention because his favorite toy has disappeared somewhere and he wants you to retrieve it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about attention seeking when he's feeling needy because he needs reassurance. And so sometimes you might respond with affection. Sometimes you might respond with nothing, like I'm not going to react. And sometimes you might respond with telling him off, like that's enough. And so, given the same behavior, which is asking for attention or acting needy, you are showing him three possible outcomes. And that, from his point of view, from his perspective, is unpredictable. So, choose how you're going to respond and always respond the same way. And the other family members should do the same. So, my suggestion when it comes to your dog acting needy is to actually give him attention, because when he acts needy, he needs reassurance at that particular moment. And when we don't meet a dog's emotional needs, anxiety can increase. So, suggestion is when he acts needy, always respond with a little attention. And then when you feel you've given enough, then you can ignore him. Um, Another way of being predictable is not punishing him for destruction. I know that it's really like horrible, it's irritating, it's annoying, it's frustrating coming home and finding out that your dog has destroyed something else. He either chewed through drywall, or he destroyed a cushion, or he destroyed a new pair of shoes. And I do know that this is something that really like rubs us up the wrong way. And especially if we've had a bad day and then we come home to destruction, we could easily take it out on the dog and punish him for the destruction. But what I would like, what I'd like you to understand is that when a dog that suffers from separation anxiety destroys, that is not pent up energy, it is not boredom, it is not revenge, it is a way of releasing stress. It is his way of trying to lower his anxiety, pretty much like some people chew their nails for example, others smoke. So we all have these coping mechanisms when we're feeling anxious, and our dogs also have their coping mechanisms. So your dog who suffers from separation anxiety, when he destroys, just try to think, okay, he destroyed because he was trying really hard to lower his own anxiety. So one way of being unpredictable is you come home sometimes and you scold him for the destruction. Other times you come home and you look at the destruction and ignore it, but you don't greet him. Other times you look at the destruction, ignore it, and still greet your dog. So again, his behavior is destruction, but you have come up with three possible responses. So once again, always respond the same way. And my suggestion, because destruction is a sort of a self-soothing behavior, my suggestion is to not punish him. Come home and pretend you haven't seen the destruction, and greet him as you usually do. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you'd like to find out more, just go down to the description, and you'll have access to a free training video. Take care.